All right, let's do some speedy news. Oh, well, we have a lot of news, but we'll try to speed through
with
it.
the Department of Justice reveal more details about Jeffrey Epstein's ties to New Albany. It's good to have you with us here at 6:30. I'm Colin Dorsey. Inside the more than 300 pages were claims from Axwell that Epstein, quote, ran the city. She also talked about Epstein's connection to Les Wexner, who the city
I will
says
leave everything in the
Albany
description, so
business
don't
park.
worry about
Maxwell says Epstein
sources and
allegedly
whatnot.
organized trust
And obviously,
funds
you can
for
all
children
search these
and
sources. It's all
restructured
open source.
businesses for the Limited Brands founder. She claims Wexner was Epstein's closest friend at the time she met Epstein in 1991. Later in the interview, Maxwell recalls a time when she visited Wexner's New Albany mansion.
I remember this conversation. He built himself a very large house, like truly enormous, and it's one of the biggest private homes I've ever been to. And he built all the houses around him, and I'm like, this is so random, why would you do that? And he said to me, well, because I want to make sure that the people around me...
So see what I mean?
Friends,
Epstein, he has
like, well,
ties to
whatever, okay.
overseas.
But Epstein ran
Motherfucker has a
New Albany,
big,
which
extensive
included a
network
country club
when he
and
was
a golf
around.
club and a,
Right?
I mean,
He was a
gosh,
real
Boss is one
estate
of the
dude.
all-time great, businessmen.
Also,
in
he's
this
getting
area.
a lot of information somehow.
Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for her
Right, people
role in
love
helping
to yap,
Epstein recruit
right,
and
especially
abuse
in real
underage girls.
estate.
Wexner stepped down as CEO of Limited Brands in 2020.
Right, if you're like one of those high rollers like him, right, there's gonna be a lot of fucking people yapping, especially when you facilitate a bunch of parties and women and stuff like that, right? So yeah.
On tonight's CBS Money Watch, Labor Day is often the last hurrah of summer. With airlines expected to break records, United plans to fly more than 3 million people over the holiday. American Airlines close to 4 million. AAA expects more than 38 million people will hit the road. That's up 10% from last year.
CBS
And gas
News.
prices, they're down, averaging $3.15 a gallon nationwide. Pump prices are highest in California, the lowest in Mississippi. Well, barbecues are a Labor Day tradition, and this
remember,
year beef prices are
everything
record
has gone
highs.
up a little bit
CBS's Lisa
because of,
Rosner is in New York and reports on what is causing
fucking
these
tariff
prices to
wars.
soar. Lisa?
Jerica, for the first time ever, the average price for a pound of ground beef is more than $6. That is up 11% from a year ago.
The usual 10 patty beef that I usually get, that increased by like $2. I was
They
like,
can
holy
serve
shit.
up to 1,500 burger patties a day. The restaurant has been smashing burgers for nearly 2 years. Customers can get a single with cheese or onions for $7.50. A point of pride for co-owner Andrew Schnipper.
The hamburger traditionally has been an item that is affordable. It's in every person's
God, that
food
looks so
item.
good.
And he's hoping to keep it that way. But the
Fucking
problem
burgers,
begins
man.
in cattle
Oh, look
country,
at that
where a
juicy
multi-year
cow.
drought shrank herds to their lowest
no.
numbers in more than 70 years.
There's just a lack of beef cows in this country.
Unlike chicken, cattle need years to grow and enough
Correct.
grass and feed to make that happen. And those cost more now, according to the American Farm Bureau.
Yeah.
Imported beef is also
bet.
getting more expensive. In May, the U.S. suspended live cattle imports from Mexico because of a parasite. Beef from Brazil now faces a
that's
50% tariff from
yeah,
the
the
Trump
parasite.
administration. At the supermarket,
And then
David
people are
Dawes
trying to
says
find other
higher
sources
prices are
because the
steering him
parasite,
toward
you know?
other protein sources.
I was looking for ground turkey because it is a few dollars cheaper.
Hamburger
Yeah, it
America's
is.
beef supplier
It's unfortunate,
stopped
but yeah.
absorbing the increase and has raised its prices by 9%.
But turkey isn't as
This could
fulfilling,
force the
right?
restaurant to also raise prices.
I think the whole industry is kind of in a
Less
sort of wait-and-see
juicy.
mode at the moment.
It's not the same. It's
Beef
not beef.
imports are expected to be
Where the beef
12%
at?
higher this year compared to last because higher prices are not deterring people from buying beef just yet. But analysts predict that if high prices continue, demand will drop next year. Jerica?
Lisa Rosner in New York. Thank you.
There you have it. What is this? India notifies Pakistan of flood situation.
India on Sunday informed Pakistan about the flood situation
they
in
got a
Tavi
flood
River. With
going
Indus
on.
Waters Treaty suspended, India alerted Pakistan about the flood risk via its High Commission. While sources tell beyond that, India warned Pakistan about the flood situation in the Tavi River through its High Commission to Pakistan's Foreign Ministry. Now, notably, this is the first time that India has used this mechanism to alert Pakistan about the flood situation via its High Commission. Usually, under the Indus Waters Treaty, information is shared through the Indus Waters Commissioners. The Indus Waters Treaty governs the use of rivers flowing downstream from India into Pakistan's Indus Basin. India has access to the three eastern rivers, Satluj, Beas and Ravi, while Pakistan uses the western rivers, namely Indus, Jhelum and Chenab. India had kept the treaty in abeyance after the April attack, citing Pakistan's support for cross-border terrorism. Now, floods across Pakistan have killed 785 since the monsoon started in late June, with alerts issued of 2 more rain spells by September 10th. In Punjab province, rescue teams on Sunday urged residents of villages along the Satluj River to evacuate immediately due to rapid rising water level. Now, according to Provincial Disaster Management Authority, the Satluj River has reached a high flood level of 129,866 CUSECs, prompting authorities to issue a high alert for the region. Over 19,000 people have been evacuated from flood-prone areas in the past 24 hours, with rescue operations ongoing in districts including Kasur, Okara, Pakpatan, Bahawal Nagar
Seems
and
like they've been
Bihari.
hit hard. Right, basically it was the same with how Texas got hit with the flood, right?
Currently, the river's water flow stands at
flash flooding that happened in
122,000
Texas
cusecs,
is basically
indicating a high flood level.
almost the same
However,
thing.
many residents remain hesitant to leave their homes. We're prioritizing
now it's going
voluntary
through
evacuations,
India and
providing
Pakistan
transport services
at
to
a
those
wider
who want to
scale.
relocate. So far, we've assisted over 5,000 people and evacuated more than 800 cattle. We're not resorting to forced evacuations at this time, focusing on supporting those who choose to leave.
ज़्यादा लोगों को वो ट्रांसपोर्ट सर्विस फराहम कर चुके हैं।
All right, there you have it. Russia's foreign minister says Putin-Zelensky summit planned.
So bottom line, there's no meeting planned.
President Putin said clearly that he is ready to meet, provided this meeting is really going to have an agenda.
Russia's foreign minister says no summit is planned between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky, despite President Donald Trump's push for talks. Sergei Lavrov told NBC's Meet the Press
No
that Putin
planned.
would only agree if an
That's not going to
agenda were
bode
in
well for
place,
people.
adding,
People
"There
are
is
going to
no
get
meeting
upset.
planned."
No planned talks.
Lavrov claimed Ukraine rejected points raised by Trump in recent meetings, including blocking NATO membership, negotiating territorial concessions, and rolling back language laws. NBC notes Ukraine has not outlawed Russian. After meeting separately with Putin in Alaska and Zelensky in Washington, Trump announced preparations were underway for a summit, possibly followed by a trilateral meeting. He later told conservative radio host Todd Starnes he would know within 2 weeks whether the talks are moving forward. Zelensky says he's ready to meet, but accused Moscow of dodging talks while escalating missile and drone strikes.
Ooh.
He urged the
Yep,
United
there it
States
goes,
to
up in
respond
smoke.
with tougher sanctions
Up in
and economic
flames.
pressure. Military chiefs
When
from the
there's
US,
smoke,
Europe,
there's
and Ukraine
fire.
met this week to develop security guarantees.
War is war.
The U.S. military says those proposals will go next to national security advisors. Now, as for a venue, possible sites include Geneva,
Denise.
Austria, or Hungary, with Turkey and Qatar
Budapest,
also floated as
Istanbul,
neutral
Qatar,
hosts.
Austria.
But with an international criminal court warrant limiting Putin's travel, finding a location may be as difficult as agreeing on terms. The arrest warrant restricts
Well, I
Putin
mean,
from
it's probably
traveling to
because
most of Europe. For more of our unbiased
it's probably
straight fact
because
reporting, download
what's
the
his
Straight Arrow
face?
News app or
Zelensky
visit
wants all of his shit
SAN.com.
back, right? But then Putin's like, yeah, fuck no, you're not gonna get all your shit back. What do we got here?
Let's turn our attention to Nigeria now, where the military says it's rescued 76 people held captive by criminal gangs. The operation took place in northwestern
Oh, look, Nigeria's
Katsina
into
State.
some war
One
shit
kidnapped
now too.
child died
Well, I
during
mean,
rescue
they've
efforts.
actually been.
Authorities haven't given further
they've been having
information
some
on
issues
if
for
or
a while
how
now.
many gang members who are locally known as bandits died or were taken into custody. On Saturday, Nigerian military
Right, there's literally a bunch of fucking warlords
close to
in
the border with
Nigeria fucking
Cameroon.
shit up.
The military claims to have killed more than 30 jihadists. Nigeria's northern regions are particularly affected by Islamist insurgencies and criminal gangs who kidnap people.
I just call them
ransom.
warlords because, yeah, they're just fucking causing conflict with each other
DW
constantly.
correspondent Azizat Olawa, who joins us from Maiduguri in northwestern Nigeria. So, what more can you tell us about those airstrikes and the military operations in northern Nigeria?
Thank you, Mariana. So the spokesperson of the Nigerian Air Force said they carried out what he described as precise airstrikes in at least 4 different locations called assembly points of suspected jihadist members who were reportedly planning an attack against troops stationed at a community called Kumshe, and that's about 100 kilometers away from Maiduguri, where I am at the moment. And there has been a resurgence of insecurity and attacks of Boko Haram and splinter groups called ISWAP in recent years. And according to Amnesty International, about 10,000 people were killed within 2 years since President Bola Tinubu came into power, just in northern Nigeria alone, and that is astronomical.
Well, you mentioned that you're in Maiduguri. That's the capital of Borno State, which is a region that suffered quite a lot from Islamic insurgencies. Can you give us a sense?
Oh, yeah. By the way, the same Islamic insurgency shit that's happening right with Hamas, right, by the way. This is the same ideology, right?
Of what life is like there.
These guys with their religion fucking trying to like wield it like a fucking bat and try to fuck people up with it. Yeah, no, that's not
neighboring
okay.
communities of the capital where criminal gangs were known to have, carried out attacks in the past. We visited some of the neighboring communities during our stay here, and we saw that people were gradually feeling at ease. However, I can't say the same for communities that are around the border areas of Borno State, especially the border area that Nigeria shares with other countries, where these criminal gangs are still holding sway there. And we've seen that there have been multiple attacks carried out this year alone, and that's why the military has intensified its effort to be able to, get rid of this criminal gang, so that millions of Nigerians who have been displaced and are staying in displacement camps can come back to their homes and rebuild their lives.
And just very quickly, Nigeria is officially at peace, but there's still many parts that are experiencing quite a lot of violence. What are the current conflicts that are unfolding across the country? Just very briefly.
Okay, so we know about the conflict in northeastern Nigeria, where Boko Haram and ISWAP, are holding sway. In north-central Nigeria, there is farmer and herders clashes, which has killed thousands of people as well, displaced lots of people. In southeast Nigeria, there are unknown gunmen who have also attacked people there, and we understand that hundreds of people have fled from their home to neighboring states because they don't feel safe anymore. So there is hardly any region of Nigeria that is not facing one security situation or the other, and almost all these criminal gangs carry out kidnapping for ransom.
That was DW's correspondent Azizat Olawa. Many thanks indeed for your reporting. We appreciate it.
There you have it. What's this? Kremlin casts doubt on Trump's push for peace in Ukraine.
Tonight, Ukrainians celebrating 34 years of independence as their independence faces its gravest threat. With every step of this war, with pressure on Russia, with their real losses, said Ukraine's president, we know that peace for Ukraine is getting closer. Only hours earlier, Russia launched another round of attacks at Ukrainian energy infrastructure, ending a week of some of the heaviest Russian bombardments of the war.
Hey,
Even
this is what the streamers want.
With Russian
Right,
President
this is
Vladimir
what
Putin in Alaska
Asmongold
9 days
and
ago.
Hassan
Then
and
with Zelensky
Destiny
and
want
European
the
leaders
war
in
to
an
keep going.
extraordinary summit at the White House days
the
later.
war seems to keep
Since
going.
then, the president has pushed
Hey,
Zelensky
there's
and
your
Putin to
content.
meet in person. But Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov told NBC News' Christian Roker that meeting hasn't been agreed
all the political
to.
streamers are going to be eating good. Huh?
There is no meeting planned. Putin is ready to meet with Zelensky when the agenda would be ready for a summit. And this agenda is not ready at all.
Now the president faces a critical choice.
It's going to be a very important decision. And that's whether or not it's massive sanctions or massive tariffs or both. Or do we do nothing and say it's your fight?
As the White House's diplomacy wavers,
yeah, it is their
Russia and
fight.
Ukraine staged yet another
They're the ones
prisoner
getting
exchange.
conscripted. Not
Swapping
us.
164
We're just
prisoners of war
facilitating
from each
weapons
side.
and money and aid.
And showing that peace may still be possible. Matt Bradley, NBC News.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking
Let's
news
go,
and top
the war
stories on the
machine
NBC News app
spins.
or watch live on our
Yeah.
YouTube channel.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm being a dick a little bit, but I mean that's how war goes, man.
Syria's transition to a new parliament is facing growing criticism. Kurdish leaders in the north and northeast say the process is undemocratic and deliberately excludes millions of Syrians. Syria's interim government dissolved parliament.
Yeah, remember
temporary
we've been
5-year
talking a little
constitution.
bit about
transitional
Syria.
parliament of 210
Yeah, apparently
members
some
is now
shit's
scheduled
right.
to
Shit
be
is still
selected in
popping off.
September. Two-thirds of lawmakers will be chosen by local bodies, while President Ahmed al-Sharaa will appoint the rest. The election committee announced the process will be postponed in Druze majority Suwaida, along with Kurdish-controlled Raqqa and Hasake.
By the way, that
militias
politician
control
they just showed
approximately
used to
one-third of
be
Syria's
a
territory,
apparently
primarily in the country's northeast.
a terrorist
The
leader.
Kurdish administration
He was running.
has refused to accept these
he was
elections,
running some
calling
strange
the move an act of
operations.
denial
let's
that
just say.
excludes more than 5 million people. In a statement, Kurdish government say these elections are neither democratic nor express the will of Syrians. The interim constitution is also under fire. Critics say it gives excessive powers to President Sharaa, failing to represent Syria's ethnic and religious diversity, and echoing the autocratic rule of the Assad dynasty. The Kurds described the planned parliament a superficial step and vowed not to recognize any decisions made under this system. They've been negotiating with Damascus on a deal to integrate Kurdish institutions into state structures, but talks have stalled, with the Kurds demanding decentralization of power. The security situation in Syria remains fragile. Last month, Suwaida province was shaken by deadly sectarian clashes, making access to the region difficult and raising doubts about whether the transition can bring unity to a fractured nation.
There you have it. Ah, the noise.
My name is Lorena
What's
Khatib
that?
Kizil. I am proud of my Druze heritage. And today
Oh.
I need to share an urgent message with you. Since July, Druze and Christian civilians in Suwaida and Syria have suffered a horrific atrocities. Sunni Islamist extremists, Bedouin militants, and Syrian government forces committed massacres, raping women, murdering children, and kidnapping hundreds. Over 1,700 people were killed and
the
more than
usual.
200,000 displaced. These crimes echo the horrors we saw on October 7th, 2023, when Hamas carried out similar acts against Israelis. Yet, the world remains silent. The Druze are a small religious minority, just 1 million people worldwide. In Israel, we are an integral part of this society, standing shoulder to shoulder with our Jewish neighbors in the IDF. But in Syria, our people are under attack. We need your help. Fill out the form on this page to urge Congress and White House to condemn these atrocities, demand the release of the kidnapped, and ensure it reaches Suwaida. And
Well,
support
I
an
mean,
independent investigation.
do you see the
Your voice can
Israelis?
save
Apparently,
lives.
the Israelis
Please
have been
take
trying to
action
fucking
now.
strike. They've been
My name is
striking that
Lorena
area
Khatib
for a
Kizil.
while
I am
now.
proud.
So I mean, apparently Israelis are helping you out. So by proxy, I guess we're helping you out now too. I don't know what the fuck is happening. Yeah, it seems like
a county coroner in Colorado was under
Christian or the
investigation
Druze
after it was
population being
discovered that his
targeted.
mortuary business had been
There's conflict.
stockpiling dozens of human remains.
Well,
This
seems to
discovery
be
happened
some
just
kind of
miles from the
disputes.
site of an eerily similar crime in which the owner of that business was supposed to appear in court for a day later. Investigators in Pueblo say they found decomposing bodies inside the funeral home improperly stored. They also say the owner admitted to giving family members fake remains and delaying cremations for 15 years.
They were giving
One of the
fake
co-owners of that
remains?
mortuary is also the
That's
county
fucked
coroner.
up.
No charges have yet been filed, but operations at the business have stopped.
Holy shit! I wonder how many people fucking got fake remains. What the fuck?
Our top priorities are to respectfully and humanely process the scene, identify all the deceased, and notify their families and loved ones.
Meanwhile, today's sentencing was delayed once again for John Halford on state charges of corpse abuse. He owned a funeral home in nearby Penrose, where investigators found 190 decomposing bodies stored at room temperature. The judge delayed sentencing today, rejecting a plea deal after hearing statements from families involved. Halford will be back in court in 2 weeks. He's already been sentenced to 20 years in prison for wire fraud.
Holy shit! He had wire fraud and now he's doing corpse abuse. What the fuck is that?
Heartbreaking.
These investigations follow the passing of a new law in Colorado requiring more inspections for funeral homes and crematories.
The key to putting an end to this, although I doubt that it will ever end, is inspections. And, as far as having the state inspectors check these places and, unannounced and just show up and here I am and let me see your facility. That's one way this is going to put an end to this.
So what should you do if you're ever looking for a funeral home or crematorium?
Go to that funeral home and I ask them, specific questions on the crematory. Where is the crematory? Is it, is it nearby or is it 30 miles away or something? And I would like to be present the day of the cremation and to watch the start of the cremation process.
For Straight Arrow News, I'm Lauren Keenan. If you want more on this story, download the Straight Arrow News app or visit SAN.com.
Never again. That was the message at today's National Day of Action in Little Tokyo, calling against immigration raids across the county. It comes just over a week after dozens of armed federal agents showed up for an immigration raid outside an event hosted by Governor Newsom.
And today's event was held on that very same corner where Japanese Americans were rounded up back in 1942. Photojournalist Phil Ige has the sights and sounds from today's rally.
Our history is at threat. Every one of you that have come in here today is making a powerful and necessary statement that we will not stand quietly.
For me, this is personal. We got to stand up. I'm Glenn Kitayama. I'm with the Manzanar Committee. I'm one of the organizers of this event. This is a nationwide event that is happening, the National Day of Action.
What happened to Japanese Americans in 1942 was a miscarriage of justice then, and what we're seeing happening to our brothers and sisters in the immigrant communities is a miscarriage of justice now.
With all that's been happening in Los Angeles for the past 2 months, we knew that we have to talk about the Alien Enemies Act and how that is affecting people right now and how that was used against us, Japanese Americans, back in the World War II. We named this the Democracy Plaza. For that to happen here, this is the place right here where many folks were rounded up before they went to camp during World War II. It's a well-known site, and for this to happen on our turf, It's unacceptable.
I'm actually a pretty big history buff. I'm Master Nagahashi, and I'm 16 and a half years old, here to display my project for this event. It's a replica of the Tule Lake Watchtower. I've had a family that was incarcerated in Tule Lake during World War II. I really built it with the purpose of, bringing awareness to this type of history. I just believe that something like this could never happen again.
We must not repeat history over and over.
This is a warning for all Americans of what can possibly happen if we let things slide. This is not the end. This is a beginning. To me, this is about how fragile democracy is.
Our thanks to Phil Ige for that. So,
yeah, but let's see, what do we got now?
Speaking of math, I do want to ask about a New York Times
This guy.
Investigation showing
It's
that
Timu
Democrats
fucking Obama.
are losing registered voters
It's
in all
Etsy
30 states
Obama.
that track party registration. We're putting on the screen the data. It shows altogether
It's Dollar
Democrats
Tree
have lost
Obama.
2.1 million voters. Republicans have gained 2.4 million. That's a deficit that you have of 4.5 million voters. Why are voters turning away from your party? What is the problem?
Most of that activity, as I understand it, has occurred in Florida and Texas. And certainly it is the case that nationally we're going to have to invest more in these two red states. At the end of the day, it's also going to be important for us to continue to make clear to the American people what we stand for as Democrats. We believe in a strong floor and no ceiling. In this country, you work hard, you play by the rules. There should be no ceiling as to what success you can accomplish for yourself, for your family, for your children.
Stop. I'm just gonna have to stop him there. What if you're a paraplegic? Well, now you're limited into what you do now, right? You can't have certain jobs now, right? So you can't say that.
For your grandchildren,
I'm just trying to
and
be
your
realistic,
community.
you know.
At the same period of time, we do as Democrats
Those people
believe in a strong
you
floor.
need to get those
That's a
people to
strong
do
floor
some
that is
other job.
anchored in Social Security and
No,
Medicare,
those people
and
cannot
Medicaid,
do like
veterans benefits,
heavy
nutritional
labor.
assistance, and the Affordable
Right,
Care Act.
unfortunately,
The
they can
things
only
that
do like
Republicans are
administrative
actually trying to
problem,
detonate.
right?
That's the
Paperwork,
difference
push
between
paper,
Republicans and Democrats.
paperwork,
And the more we
unfortunately.
can lean into what
No
we
hard
stand
labor.
for as
No-
a
no
party,
physical
the
labor,
better
none of
off
that
we'll
shit.
be moving forward.
So yeah, I mean, you're what? That's not even Hakeem Jeffries. That's not possible.
Taiwan is warning Anthony Albanese that a potential Chinese invasion would give Xi Jinping control of the island's computer chip industry.
Uh-oh.
The Deputy Foreign Minister is pushing our Prime Minister to back Taiwan's bid to join the CPTPP trade bloc, accusing Canberra of bowing to Chinese pressures. The minister also claimed his country
Well, I mean,
has
Australia
similar
has to
ambitions
suck
Hitler in the
Xi
1930s,
Jinping's
likening
dick.
Taiwan's plan to weaponize
Because Xi
ships,
can easily wipe
just
him
as
off the
Germany
fucking
used Czechoslovakian tanks to fuel early
This is why you
wartime
can't. This is why
requests.
Albanese is such a pussy, right? Person for Australia. He can't. Sucks the penis of Xi. He's not even willing to fucking stand up for his own fucking country. This is why I give a lot of shit to fucking Australia, because their country's fucking shit right now. Sorry, citizens of Australia, your country is prison land.
So CNN's new reporting
It
is that President Trump has a detailed plan that has been actually in the works for weeks to send the National Guard into Chicago as the former mayor of the Windy City. What's your reaction?
Well, first, I think everybody should take a step back and realize that as a commander-in-chief over his 2 terms, he has only deployed and put boots on the ground in American cities, never overseas. And just think about what that means as a country. Second, he gave a speech in Iowa. He
So
said,
do you
"I
want
hate
to? So you
Democrats,"
want to
and
go to
this may
war?
be
Is
the
that what you
reflection
want?
of that.
Right, we
I think
haven't
the
put
core
boots in
issue
the
here is that
ground
crime is
for a
coming
very
down,
long time. The
specifically
last
violence. But there's a
the last
persistent
one was
problem,
what?
which is
Afghanistan.
In fact, the Doge individual.
I mean, there's probably boots
in
on the ground
DC
somewhere else.
Was a victim
right
of
now,
an attempted
that's probably
carjacking.
not under
There's
our,
technology
not under
actually
the
to
citizens'
deal with that
purviews to
problem.
know
It
those
hasn't dropped as much
military
as homicides and
operations.
shootings.
But
And that's where the federal government
we don't
can
know what
work
the
with
fuck you
cities
guys
and
are
work with
doing,
mayors and
because
work
you
with
guys don't
county
tell us
officials
shit.
to actually reduce carjackings, which are the bigger problem in cities and the persistent problem in that area. And lastly, I think, look, the attack here is also in the area of prosecutions. And
I
they
should
the
say
U.S. Attorney's
Afghanistan,
offices across
Iraq.
the country should get
Right.
back to prosecuting gun crimes in cities across the country and states across the country.
After
what's
that,
happening in DC.
we've
And
literally
Democrats'
pulled out
answer
of
isn't, "Here's
boots
the
on the
law,"
ground. Like we
or,
don't have.
"This is
I'm pretty sure we
unprecedented,"
have
which is
no more
true.
boots on the grounds people. All
We have a
over,
strategy
right.
for fighting crime.
They're
More
all
police on
back
the
in
beat and
military
getting
right,
kids, gangs,
bases.
and guns off the street. And that is the strategy, and that's what has to be done. And in this area, you can actually do it with carjackings.
Is this going to be a flashpoint in Chicago? How do you think people are going to react?
Well, it depends on. It'd be interesting. Is he going to try to put National Guard around Michigan Avenue or downtown, or is he going to go into Englewood or other parts of the city that do have a crime problem and do have to be approached? And my
Oh,
guess is when you
so
look at
he's
what he
not
did in
saying that
DC,
there isn't a
he's not gonna
crime
actually
problem, but
deal
he's
with
saying
crime. This
no,
is an
you're
attempt to
doing
get
it
the
in the
goods
wrong
through customs.
places.
This is an attempt to deal with
Motherfucker.
cities that are welcoming cities,
Piece
known
of
as sanctuary
shit.
cities, and deal with immigration. This will not be about fighting crime.
you were
And
still-
when he said in that video that somehow that Chicago was a mess, well, compared to a White House, that uses
Basically,
signal tech
he
and
wants it
national
where he
security,
wants.
it's not a
Right,
mess.
he wants
you
to
were
pick
still
and
mayor, how
choose
would you handle it?
where the troops get put.
Well,
What a
I would say
fuck you
work
guys.
with us on public safety. Here are the 5 things you could do. Technology to deal with carjackings, prosecuting gangs and gun violence in the city, working on the issues of drugs and guns coming into the city.
Yeah, but you guys went on your whole spiel of like defund the police for like 5 years straight. Like, come on, like you can't. You literally fucked over a bunch of police departments because of that.
And helping
Like,
coordinate task force to
fucked their
deal with confronting
resources
gangs throughout the city.
pretty badly.
Those are the things that I would say.
Not only
right now,
that, but some
partner
of
with
the
us. Don't
obviously
try to
there's
come
some
in and
bad
act like we
apples
can be an
that
occupied city.
fuck it up themselves, right, for everybody else. But you know, that's on them. Yeah, I mean these politicians go out and like say defund the police and shit. I'm like, well, you caused this, right? They're the ones who caused this shit.
Republicans have passed legislation to redraw the state's congressional map to give the party a 5-seat edge during next year's midterms. As Christian Benavides reports, California
fighting.
Democrats
They're
are
still
planning
fighting
to do
for
the same
seats
to
and
offset the
redistricting.
gains by Texas.
House Bill 4 is finally passed.
The Texas legislature has given final approval to new congressional maps designed to give Republicans an additional 5 seats in the House of Representatives for the 2026 midterms. Republican Governor Greg Abbott plans to sign the legislation as soon as it reaches his desk.
There were voters that were trapped in Democrat congressional districts who voted for Republicans for president and other offices. So we had the legal authority to be able to draw the new maps to empower voters to have the candidate of their choice.
President Trump celebrated the vote, calling it a huge victory for our America First agenda. But Democrats in Texas plan to challenge the legality of the new map, saying it dilutes the voting power of minorities.
Tell us whether or not there was any analysis by...
What do you mean dilutes the
top-notch
voting
lawyers.
power of minorities? You've already diluted so much shit in California. Like, you guys don't even allow people to vote on certain things. Fuck you.
as it relates to discriminatory effects.
Right.
of this
You
particular
see,
map.
you see all the politicians that are in power
is that
right
this
now in
map
California,
complies with all
and then all of their
applicable law.
right and all of the right
Democratic
cabinet,
Governor
their
Gavin
cabinet
Newsom
members and
is now
shit. Yeah, we
pushing a
didn't
plan
elect
to
those
redraw its own
cabinet
map to
members to
favor
represent us.
They
But yeah,
an action
you see these people around you? Yeah, we didn't elect those people. You did, you fucking ass. Fuck you. I want to hang you.
Texas, and we're
I want to
responding to
hang
it.
you.
A new poll shows 48% of Californians backing Governor Newsom's plan to redraw
These
maps.
people do not
32%
represent me.
opposed
Fuck them.
with
They can all go
20%
to fucking
undecided.
hell.
Christian Benavides, CBS News.
And California Democrats want to put the issue up for a vote in a special election November 4th, hoping to avoid court challenges.
Fuck you. Fucking shady motherfucks. What's this? 2 missing boys
Two
from
California boys at the center of an Amber Alert are safe tonight, found hundreds
Oh
of
yeah,
miles
so
away
that's what that
here in
shit
Las
was
Vegas.
going on.
Metro Police say it all came to an
that
end
was going
this
on
afternoon.
for like, I think,
News Now reporter Nick
2
Summer
days in
joins
a
us
row
live
there
near
was Amber
Sahara in
Alert
Paradise,
alerts.
where a car linked to that Amber Alert was spotted. Nick.
I'm standing just a few feet away from where Metro Police say their Fusion Watch officers spotted
There was
the
this.
vehicle that was
I'm
tied
pretty
to
sure
that
there was
Amber
this
Alert.
Amber
It happened
Alert,
right
and then
here
there was
near
a
Sahara in
second. There was
Paradise
another
this
Amber
afternoon.
Alert of some.
And when police pulled the
I don't
car
remember.
over, they found the two
It
children.
happened like yesterday, and then
Metro Police say
and
around
it-
3:20
one today, I
Saturday
think?
afternoon, their
Can't
Fusion
remember.
Watch team
It was
spotted
either
the
2
vehicle.
days ago
That alert
when it
was issued
happened, or it
Thursday
was
after 2-year-old
yesterday
Derek
and this today.
Rodriguez Hernandez and his 10-year-old brother Jaden Hernandez disappeared from their foster home in South Los Angeles. Investigators believe their mother, 30-year-old Jacqueline Hernandez Torres, had taken them, according to LAPD. On August 21st at 1:30 a.m., the brothers were last seen walking away from their foster care home in Los Angeles. One neighbor living in the area where they were found in Las Vegas tells me she saw police activity right outside her door and was told to be on the lookout for a brown RV.
Just driving around, and the helicopters was going around and around, so the person is real close, and the RV does look really, really familiar. I just can't pinpoint the person who drives it.
Shortly after police moved in and stopped the vehicle, they detained all inside. The two children are now safe. For now, Derek and Jaden are safe. It's still unclear why they ended up in Las Vegas. Reporting live near Paradise and Sahara, Nick Summer,
What the
8
fuck?
News
How
Now.
did they get to all? What?
And Metro
How
Police
did
are
they get
working
there?
closely with LAPD detectives as they continue to investigate. We are still awaiting the exact charges of those involved. Now,
That's wild. Fucking wild. That's like abduction or some shit. I don't even know, man. How did they fucking get to fucking Las Vegas? Alright. We have it. What was that? Standoff ends with victim dead. Uh-oh.
Out of Jefferson Park, where a SWAT standoff has just ended with a suspect in custody and another person dead. Skyfox reporter Justin O'Brien is live at the scene with the latest for us. Justin, what's going on?
Yes, good evening, Susan. Yes, that 9-hour SWAT standoff just ended here, just in the last hour. This is happening out just south of the 10 freeway at 23rd and Arlington. Yes, that suspect carried out of that house, we believe, breathing but suffering several gunshot wounds. Let's get to the daytime video. This started around about 1 p.m. this afternoon with reports that a person had been shot and was laying in the front yard of that house. LAPD officers arrived on scene. They went to help that man, but then somebody from inside the house started shooting at them. So LAPD officers returned fire, and they tried to grab that man who had been that victim, carried him to safety, and then called in the SWAT team. Unfortunately, that victim was died at the scene, but SWAT began their negotiations with the shooter inside the house. They used their Bobcat to smash some of the windows open, and then sent in some of their little robots so they could get in and have a look at that guy. Now, as they were trying to negotiate with the suspect, he would not come out. He kept moving around, so they were forced to start firing chemical agents into the house. Now, eventually, he did surrender after hiding in the bathroom, I believe. He came out of the second floor there. Now, if we can come back out here live, I'm giving you a shot of the white tent. Now, that is where the victim is, and just to give you some idea of how far those LAPD brave officers dragged that victim to safety. And if we come back down here as well, you can just get an idea, Susan, of the amount of gunshots that were fired here with all those yellow markers that are there marking on the ground. So this street out here, 23rd and Arlington, between to Gramercy, is shut down while LAPD conduct their extensive investigation into the shooting that occurred out here this afternoon. Susan, back to you in the studio.
So, Justin, that whole neighborhood then was impacted by this police action. Any sense for when things will get back to normal?
For my guess, Susan, would be won't be until tomorrow morning. As you saw, there's the impact. The surrounding area is quite impacted. Residents have been allowed to go back to their houses in the surrounding area, but not in the immediate area where these houses are, between between where the shooting occurred. LAPD just beginning their investigation here. You have to understand that obviously SWAT were involved here. A lot of damage to that house as they tried to get that shooter out. And no doubt when daylight arrives, that'll certainly help with their investigation to make sure they don't miss any evidence. Suze?
Yeah, there were a lot of evidence markers there marking where the bullet casings would land.
Yeah,
Thank you,
this was a
Justin
day ago.
O'Brien.
We'll get more information as the days go on, but I'll check back on it maybe like in a couple of days or two, or in a day or two. Sorry. But on to the next. What do we got here? Commie alert! Uh-oh. British journalist Lewis Goodwill calls for a significant increase in UK's inheritance tax.
What we've got at the moment
this
is
guy.
an aristocracy
Jesus.
of wealth in this country. It's also true of the United States as well. So what I would do, and I wouldn't be opposed to, by the way, I wouldn't be opposed to 100% inheritance tax. Or maybe let's say 99%. You know, my rule might be that if you can put it in 2p bags, then you can hand it over. That's fine. 99, 95%. I'm being provocative, but you see what I mean. I would not be against a far higher rate of inheritance tax than we have at the moment, which is 40% above a certain threshold. I wouldn't be opposed to putting that to 50%, 60%, 70%.
100?
Why? Because I think the quid pro quo should be twofold. One, that helps fund public services, which actually helps level the playing field.
You know
in
you'd
achieving
be
a true
out of.
meritocracy.
You know you'd
Two,
go broke, right?
It will help us reduce taxes.
Like if you actually
on
paid
income.
100%
Because at the end of the
inheritance
day,
tax,
I want to
you'd
incentivize
fucking
work.
go broke.
I want to incentivize productivity.
And I don't
want to
even know that
incentivize
much
people
about
to
inheritance
get up off
tax,
their
but I'm
backsides
pretty
and do
sure you'd
more.
fuck yourself pretty bad. Reduce income tax just because the inheritance tax is increased? That too, yeah. All you're doing is making yourself pay more money. Why would you want that? In fact, there's no law or fiscal policy in the UK that requires the government to reduce income tax if it raises the inheritance tax.
My contention is, and I know this is controversial, I know not everybody agrees with it, but my contention is this. You don't have a right to inherit. You should have a right
you don't have a right to reparations.
And keep more of your own money. That to me is more important, way more important.
Shit, you're not
than your right to just inherit some money from mom
You're not
and daddy
entitled to
that you did
anything.
nothing to earn.
Let me see if I got this. People shouldn't have the right to leave their hard-earned money to their children. Correct. Should have the right to take it and redistribute it as it sees fit. Yeah, that's a little weird. Yeah, why wouldn't you want to give it to your to your kids or your family members that can actually do something with it versus the government? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you give away your stuff to the government that's actively trying to fuck your family?
50%, 60%, 70%. Why? It will help us reduce taxes on income.
I don't know. He seems out of touch. He seems like he loves getting the dick in the ass for government. There you have it. That was memeology. But you can get all these sources in the description I'll leave.
Gunshots rang out during a
All sources will be in the description.
Police say two men posing as officers actually tried to force their way inside a home, but the owners there fired back. Our Rochelle Turner is live from that home with what we've learned this morning. Rochelle, you also spoke to neighbors.
Kathy and Brittany, good morning to you. Yes, we've been speaking to people here in the past hour or so. Many of them told us that they heard those gunshots last night, but right now they're too afraid to speak to us on camera because they tell us that these shootings happen too often. Now here's the scene right here behind us. You can see
apparently they happen often
in
Houston, Texas.
Since 11 o'clock last night. We've been seeing people try to come through here. Maybe
well, I mean, to be fair, the Lone Star State, right? Their gun rules are pretty
last night.
They're
Police told us
less
there were two guys, they
restrictive
were
than
dressed up
most of the
as if they were
United
police
States.
officers, posed as officers. They were wearing masks. They were armed. They
Probably
even
one
had
of the most
bulletproof
freest
vests and were wearing
states out
badges.
there.
They tried to go inside of a home. This is at the
And
4800
right,
block
and you
of
still have
Bellingham, which is
people
right
trying
here
to like
in,
invade
Southeast Houston.
people's
They tried
homes
to
and
enter
shit,
that
right?
home, and that's when police tell us that the homeowners opened fire. He shot 2 of the suspects and then killing them here on the scene. And we know that right now detectives are still trying to figure out exactly who these guys are and why they were targeting this home. But I do want you to take a minute right now to listen to the surveillance video we were able to get from a neighbor. So you heard those gunshots.
Yeah,
It sounded they were very fast. 6 gunshots. Again, we know that there were 2 men inside of the house claiming to be police. They had a warrant. The suspects wearing masks, vests, and badges fired shots through the front door. The homeowners returned fire, hitting both suspects. HPD says officers attempted CPR, but both men were pronounced dead on the scene.
The suspects were wearing bulletproof vests and had some sort of badge around their neck, and were wearing ski masks as well. So right now we don't have ages on the suspects.
They had ski
so
masks.
A lot of information that detectives are trying to get through. I can't tell you that the
They were hiding their
maybe
identity.
about 30 minutes ago. So it is going to be a long morning for officers out here.
Oh my God, just like the police. Oh my God, they hide their identities. Oh my God, look at those criminals.
But we will have another report for you guys coming up at 8:30. For now, reporting live in Southeast Houston, I'm Rochelle Turner.
It's like the ICE agents. Oh my God, they're terrible people. All right, there you have it. Fuck around and find out, right?
If you are expecting a package from Europe or India, you may be waiting a while.
Uh-oh.
Multiple European postal services and the government
Europe,
in
India,
announcing
do
they are
not-
set to suspend shipments to the United States. They're citing a lack of clarity.
You
when it
cannot
comes to new
get
import
shipments
tariffs
from
that are
Europe
expected to
or
take effect
India.
this week.
Stop
Newsnation
stop
Marcus
buying
Espinosa
things
joining
from
us now.
there.
Marcus, walk us through this about why it's happening
Stop
and how it
buying
can affect
things
you
from
and I and the American consumer.
overseas.
Yeah, Hannah,
The
short
terrorists
answer,
will
tariffs,
fuck
but
you
there's
in
a lot
the
more
ass,
complexity in
and
that
well,
as
there's
So both Europe
issues.
and India are now suspending many shipments to the United States. It all comes down to how packages enter
Yeah,
the
that means
US, and
all
new rules
those
that will change
VTubers
what
who
gets
keep
taxed. At
buying
the center
shit
of it is the
overseas, yeah,
end
you
of
need to
what's
stop
called the
that
de
shit.
minimis exemption. That's set to expire
Especially
on
when the
August 29th.
taxes
A rule
are
that lets
fucking you in
packages
the
worth
ass.
less than $800 enter the U.S. duty-free.
I guess it's
This is a
not
big
so
deal.
much
Last year
for
alone, more than
the people
1.3
who
billion
live in those
packages arrived
countries.
that
I don't
way,
think they
worth
get
more than
taxed out the
$64 billion.
wazoo.
Across Europe, Germany, Denmark, Sweden, and Italy have already stopped shipments of many packages to the U.S. France and Austria will join in on Monday. And the UK's Royal Mail says it will halt service Tuesday to let packages already in transit arrive before the new duties take hold. And in India, postal officials say starting August 25th, they will suspend all shipments to the U.S. That's tomorrow, except letters, documents, and small gifts under $100. Meanwhile, DHL, Europe's largest shipping provider, is also pulling back. The company saying it can't continue accepting business parcels to the U.S. until there's more clarity on how the new duties will be handled. Under the new framework, most goods shipped from Europe will face a 15% tariff, and packages under $800 will no longer be duty-free. In India, any package over $100 will now be subject to new duties with only small gifts and documents exempt. You following along so far? Until U.S. authorities spell out the rules, basically, Americans waiting on deliveries from Europe or India could be left hanging with no clear timeline on when normal shipping will resume. Hello?
I am following along, and the long list of countries is a little, it's a little concerning here, especially considering how confused they seem to be about the tariffs. Is there any workaround for us?
There's a couple of options there, and then hopefully during the week, perhaps the U.S. will speak out and clarify some things there. But right now, options are limited. Like I mentioned, many postal services have paused shipments, mainly because there's still no clear rule book on how these duties will be collected. So there are limited workarounds. Shipping by services like DHL Express are still operating, though at a much higher cost than regular mail. And there are limited exceptions. In India, letters, documents, and small gifts under $100, as I mentioned, are still allowed. And in Europe, regular mail without merchandise is not affected. So for consumers, the biggest workaround may be checking where your order is coming from and buying from outside of Europe or India for now. And honestly, the best option is if you need something right away, go ahead and go out and order it quickly and hope it arrives.
Yeah, or just go local
I was going to order a new
and
football
buy
jersey,
it.
Arsenal football jersey from Europe. I've adopted the
I
sport
don't
over
think
there.
you
Yeah,
need
I'm gonna put that
anything.
order in today.
You don't need to, you don't need to import anything or export. Stop it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our
Well, I mean,
News
if
Nation
you
app right
want
now on your phone, and
export
you
so
will
that you
get
can get some
fact-based,
money, I guess so.
unbiased news for all Americans.
Sure, News Nation. Shut up, Cuomo. Your brother's in some hot water.
A convicted killer sentenced in a triple murder case. The victim's family members confronting him in court. The judge also had some harsh words for Anthony Velasquez as he sent him away to prison for the rest of his life.
Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda shares what the victims and loved ones had to say.
There is not one day that I don't think about my dad.
Emotional words from family members of the victims. At today's sentencing, they had the chance to confront the suspect and tell him what he did to their lives.
I won't ever have my daddy-daughter dance. I won't have my dad walk me down the aisle.
Anthony Velasquez was convicted of murdering 3 people in East Los Angeles: Jesus Avalos in 2014, Eduardo Robles in 2015, and Amanda Nicole Lopez in 2018. The prosecution said they were targeted because Velasquez felt in one way or another they had disrespected him. The jury found him guilty of first-degree murder on all of them. Today he stared straight ahead and showed no emotion as the family spoke.
You, Anthony, are and always will be nothing more.
Well, I mean, he went there with
certified
right, with the motive to
homicidal
hurt you guys. So.
serial killer who has no heart, no
That's
conscience.
just how it happens.
The judge sentenced Velasquez to 150 years to life in prison.
Defendant is nothing more, or I should say nothing less, than a serial killer. He will be punished as such.
The defense attorney says there will be an appeal.
I just want to clarify that Mr. Velasquez maintained his innocence throughout the investigation, throughout trial, and we have filed our notice of appeal today.
Emily Avalos says that long sentence makes her happy, but it's emotionally difficult.
But I feel guilty for feeling happy, you know? But now I know that he won't hurt anyone anymore.
Family members say there will never be closure, but they feel today at least there was justice. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Carlos Grande, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
There you have it. A drunk driver gets near max sentence for killing Las Vegas airmen. Oh, shit.
3 new gas power plants are coming to Louisiana to power a Meta data center, despite objections from the community. Members of the public upset after the State Public Service Commission approved the plan. The $10 billion data center is touted as the largest planned in the U.S., and the power plants will be run by the utility company Entergy Louisiana.
Oh, wow.
People criticized the commission for what they say was a rush process. There were also concerns about impact on electricity rates, water consumption, and air pollution.
Yeah, I wonder how this is
We
going
made
to go.
sure that Meta's deal would ensure that they would pay enough to cover the generation costs that they are contributing to, such that we mitigate the effect of Meta becoming a customer. We mitigated the risks or the impacts that that would have on other customers.
Some members of the public weren't convinced.
My main concern is that this commission is damaging their credibility by rushing through this controversial decision in record time without a due consideration of all the different factors that have been brought up here today.
Construction on that data center has actually already begun in Richland Parish, about halfway between Shreveport, Louisiana, and Jackson, Mississippi. Commissioners highlighted the economic impact, saying the project will create 500 jobs in one of the most poverty-stricken parts of the U.S.
But we need help, and these people are offering help and good
How
jobs
is that
and
going to
good
work?
pay, and
The most poverty-stricken place in Louisiana, and you're going to build a very high-tech data center. And then now you're going to basically need people to move around that's what? No, I don't think anybody wants to move to that area when it's dangerous. When it's the lowest, right, when it's a low poverty area.
The only commissioner to vote no also voiced concerns about the process.
So in evaluating all the costs, the benefits, positives and negatives, certainties and uncertainties associated with
So
this
who's going out there to live
left
over there
struggling with some fundamental
to work on this?
3 new self-built gas generators for 1 customer without a
Jesus.
competitive bid process. I recognize that we are building in a business environment of trade-offs, but those fundamentals to me are at the heart of this proposal and were just too bitter for me to swallow.
The first 2 power plants are expected to come online in 2028, with the third to begin operating in 2029. For Straight Arrow News, I'm Lauren Keenan. If you want more on this story, download the Straight Arrow News app or visit SAN.com.
There you have it. I wonder who's going to be working for that company. Oh yeah, you're gonna have to move over here where there's a lot of just nothing. Like, huh? I have to move over there? Oh man. Oh, looks like I'm hitting the alcohol. Kid. Well, I mean, I'm half kidding and it's half true. I mean, shit like that does happen. There goes the jet. They're apparently gonna go do some strikes, possibly. Uh-oh.
The U.S. has stopped issuing work visas for commercial truck drivers.
Yeah,
Secretary of State Marco Rubio
yeah, I bet
announced the
after that
suspension
one
Thursday,
incident,
calling it effective immediately.
yeah, after that incident with that one
Rubio
truck
said
driver,
the growing number of
they
foreign
got to figure
truckers
out what the
on
hell
American
happened.
highways is endangering lives and cutting into the livelihoods of U.S. drivers. The State Department described the move as part of a comprehensive review of how driver applicants are screened and vetted. Officials said the pause applies to all nationalities, not just one country. The announcement comes the same week federal investigators opened a probe into a deadly crash in Florida involving a driver from India. The Transportation Department said that driver failed an English proficiency test, but still managed to get commercial licenses in Washington and California. Transportation Secretary
Yeah,
Sean
I don't know
Duffy
how in
called the
California.
accident a preventable tragedy
Because
and ordered
California is
stricter
kind of
nationwide enforcement
wouldn't say
of
strict,
English
but
requirements. Industry groups say
there's
the
a lot of
scrutiny
rush
is
hour
necessary,
traffic and
even as
shit,
the country
right?
faces a shortage
Bumper to
of roughly
bumper shit.
60,000 truckers. The American Trucking
it's a little,
Association said it supports the move
it's more
and called for
nerve-wracking
stricter enforcement
is the
of entry-level
best way
training
to put it.
standards for all drivers. Officials said the pause will remain in place until the government completes its review of visa screening and licensing rules. For more unbiased updates, download the Straight Arrow News app or go to SAN.com.
There you have it. What is this?
Breaking now, a violent night throughout the city of Philadelphia. Police are now investigating 3 separate homicides. One person is dead in a shooting in the Logan neighborhood. It happened just before 3 this morning on the 1700 block of West Ruscombe Street. Philadelphia police say when they arrived on the scene, they located a male shot in the chest and was rushed to the hospital where he was pronounced. A friend of the victim followed the shooter to a home on the 1600 block. When the shooter began shooting at them, police found around 15 spent shell casings between the blocks. 3 guns were recovered at the scene, and 1 man is now in custody. In the Fern Rock neighborhood of the city, 1 person was also shot. It happened just before midnight on North Warnock Street and West Spencer Street. Philadelphia police say they received a call on the shooting, and around the same time, a person came to the police station reporting an unresponsive person laying on a discarded mattress. Soon after, a private vehicle dropped the victim off at Einstein, where they were pronounced dead. Officials believe a car left running at the scene may be connected.
On that block, there was also an abandoned black BMW, which was still running. It was unoccupied, and we do believe that that BMW is in some way connected to the shooting. We don't know if the
Yeah, I mean, if
now
it was still
deceased
running,
was
yeah.
in that vehicle as an operator.
Yeah,
or as
was
a
it
passenger,
a stolen
or whether it belonged
vehicle?
to
Is it someone's
possibly
right?
someone that,
Is it the person who
perpetrated the shooting?
caused
We
the
don't
crime?
know
Right?
yet,
Who you don't
but
know.
we do believe that that
Or is it the
vehicle
person
is a
who's on the
critical piece
floor
of evidence,
past right
to this
deceased that
investigation.
guy's car, right?
So far, no arrests have been made, and a motive is unknown. At 8:05 in Kensington,
Don't
a
know
man is shot
whose it
multiple times
is.
on the 600 block of East Street. It happened just before 1 this morning. The man was taken to Temple, where he was also sadly pronounced dead. Police say 5 spent shell casings were recovered at the scene. Officials say the man lives on the block that he was shot, but so far, no motive or no arrests.
There you have it. I think we already saw the
Good
Bronx
evening,
Park
I'm
shooting.
Natalie Duttridge, and we begin with that shooting at a Bronx park that killed 1 man and injured 4 others. One of the victims, a teenage girl who was watching a basketball game at the time. This shooting happened at Haffen Park in Baychester. And tonight, several people are in custody, but no charges have been filed. Our Christy Cleation spoke with family members of one of the victims.
Sirens echoing in Baychester at Hafen Park, where shots rang out Saturday night by the basketball court. Police say 5 people were shot. Among them, Bronx resident 32-year-old Jaceel Banks, who died. 17-year-old Antonia Campbell, who was watching the basketball game, was shot in the back of the head and is recovering at the hospital.
Jesus.
We spoke with her mother, Jennifer Talbot, who didn't wish to go on camera.
It's heartbreaking. You don't give birth to your children in order to see them on a trach and to life support unit. That's a hard goal. And She loves everybody. She don't have an enemy.
She and her daughter live in Hartford, Connecticut. She says Campbell came to the Bronx neighborhood she grew up in to visit her grandmother before going back to school to finish a medical assistant program. She's aspiring to be a speech pathologist. Her aunt Elizabeth didn't want to be identified.
She didn't deserve this. Nobody could deserve this. But that could have been 2 of my kids. Why there wasn't more cops here?
Balloons and trash are left behind at Hafen Park, where the shooting also critically injured a 31-year-old man. Police say a 29-year-old woman and a 42-year-old man are stable. On social media, this flyer detailed a game at 4 p.m. during a back-to-school community give-back day for kids. Neighbors say they heard several rounds of gunshots.
Something like a machine gun. Like, it was not pow pow to say like a revolver in 1, 2, 3, 4 shots. It was a constant.
We started hearing popping noise, and we're like, fireworks? No. We started hearing multiple shots.
As Campbell's family prays for her speedy recovery, they're demanding a stronger police presence around Hafen Park.
Where are the police for our children that are down here?
My niece just
Well, it
turned
sounded
17.
like a gang.
She's heading back to school up in Hartford to go to school this week.
Conflict.
And now we don't even know what's going to happen.
Police are still investigating what exactly led up to the shooting and if it was gang-related. In
Yeah,
Baychester, the Bronx.
I mean,
Christy Clichy, CBS News, New York.
given all that, sounds kind of gang-related.
Thousands of Australians marched through capital cities today, protesting for the release of Jewish hostages held captive by terrorists for almost 2 years. Sorry, I got that wrong. Thousands of Australians marched through capital cities today, protesting against Israel as it tried to free hostages held by terrorists for almost 2 years.
Yeah, apparently this is going on in Australia.
Yeah, more than 20,000 people marched in Brisbane against what Electrical Trades Union Secretary Peter Ong called acts of terrorism inflicted on the Palestinians, which I've got to say is an interesting flip of the script, James.
And Greens Senator Penny Ellman-Payne told journalists she'd spent the past 2 years calling for a stop to the genocide, which is amazing since Gaza was free 2 years ago, before they invaded Israel and slaughtered 1,200 Jews.
And then there was this guy.
Stop.
spectacle of taking the bridge.
That's not nice. Stop telling them they did such horrific acts. They don't want you to. They don't want you to know
We'll
that.
be rallying, so maybe 100K, I don't know. Hopefully.
Is there a reason why your face is fully covered?
I don't know, it's fine.
Oh, okay. And despite Labor's decision to recognise a Palestinian state, there was no love for the Albanese government. Marchers called for sanctions on Israel and for a stop to investment in the world's only Jewish state to cease.
Your legs, your arms, your hands of young babies being blown to bits with no anaesthetic, where they're getting their arms and legs chopped off.
With no anesthetic. Your babies will be mutilated in this war.
Australians standing up against sanctions.
A lot of what took place at these marches today, and there were 40 of them right around the nation, a lot of it was quite unhinged. Lydia Thorpe, you remember her, she addressed the crowd in Melbourne, encouraging them to boycott McDonald's and KFC because apparently they part Israeli-owned, and that will make a difference in Gaza. Then in Melbourne, you had protesters marching past a Starbucks, harassing people who were just there to get a flat white, telling them their coffee
You
was
should do it to
supporting genocide,
Amazon
and that their
too.
coffee was
They're
infused with the blood
not
of
pro-Palestine.
Palestinian children. Meanwhile, Danica, if it didn't get
They
any
don't
more
fit the
unhinged,
list
there was
that
one chap with
they
a
have
loudspeaker
too.
in Melbourne. He was chanting that October 7 was a
Basically,
hoax
all
perpetrated
governments
on the
don't
world
fit
to
the
give
list.
Benjamin Netanyahu an excuse to commit genocide in Gaza. The more you listen to the people that turn up to these protests, the more ridiculous it becomes. And then you get the guy that we saw there earlier, the fully masked guy, who was fully masked because he thought it would be fun.
Yeah, it's a bit of a joke, isn't it? It's all a bit of a joke. And I feel like a lot of these people, James, they're the type that wouldn't know which river nor which sea that they're actually chanting.
Well, Anthony Albanese, our Prime Minister,
he didn't know
that either,
the river to the ocean. So I mean, that's their motto. But look, here we go again, James. It's the same scenes we see week in, week out. And my issue with it, number one, obviously it's holding up traffic. It's blocking foot traffic. Businesses, once again, are struggling because these people are occupying space. Police are, again, having to be taken off the beat, taken off the day-by-day rounds to make sure that nothing gets out of hand. Yeah. And, again, I really feel like these people have become emboldened because we're seeing it more and more. It started, it's been going on obviously since October 7, 2023, but it was that Harbour Bridge mask that started it. And then, of course, when Anthony Albanese decided to recognise Palestine, suddenly we've got this new wave of emboldenment. It's encouraging more activists. A lot of these people are just professional protesters. Again, they've probably got no idea what they're there for, to go out and do this.
Look at them. They're a bunch of old people.
The Labor government, Wong,
Oh, sorry, I'm racial profiling. My
You
bad.
mentioned the Sydney
A
Harbour
bunch
Bridge
of old
protest.
people.
Grace Tame addressed the crowd in Sydney
All
today.
saying the same
and she
bullshit.
said, we got 300,000 people to block the bridge. Why can't we get 3 million? Didn't they have 90,000 at the bridge protest?
And also, there was also
300,000.
Yeah, but I don't know what she's
I
talking
don't
about.
even I don't even know why these
Let's not
old
forget, like,
people
big
care
numbers.
so
Do not
much.
encourage big numbers like that on the Harbour Bridge because police said that they were so worried that somebody was going to die.
What's interesting, though, and you alluded to this, is that since our federal government decided to recognise the state of Palestine, that's not satiated protesters. They don't care about that.
No.
In fact, many made the point today, we weren't asking for that. We want sanctions on Israel. We want action against Israeli MPs. We want divestment from the state of Israel. This is much less pro-Palestinian than it is anti-Israel, and it has been from the beginning. That's my biggest problem with it.
Yeah, but don't worry, James. Boycotting McDonald's and KFC, that's going to solve the crisis in the Middle East. Terrific.
Lydia Thorpe. So,
Yes, boycott all the fast food restaurants. They don't believe in the cause. So stupid. So stupid. So fucking stupid, yeah. Activists, man. Always do activist dumb shit.
Pursuant to notice, I now call up H.R. 4140, the Burma Genocide Accountability and Protection Act. The bill was circulated in advance, and the clerk shall designate the bill.
H.R. 4140, to provide protection, support, and humanitarian assistance to Rohingya refugees and internally displaced people in Burma.
Without objection, the first reading is dispensed with, and the bill is considered read and open to amendment at any point.
Aid to people
Without objection,
in
the
Burma.
Meeks amendment in the nature of a substitute circulated to members in advance shall be considered as read and
giving
will be
more
treated as
aid to
original text for the purposes of amendment.
to fucking
I now recognize
right
myself
asylum
in
seekers
support of the bill.
apparently.
I want to thank Ranking Member Meeks and Chairman Emeritus McCall, Representative
Or I
Barra,
guess
Representative
we should call
Huizenga,
them
for
refugees
introducing the
because
Burma Gap
they
Act.
have some
For too
turmoil.
long, the world has watched as Rohingya people have focused unspeakable horrors, genocide, mass rape, torture, and forced displacement. All that at the hands of the Burma military. This isn't history, it's happening as we speak. This bill sends a clear message: the United States will not stand by while war criminals rule with impunity. It calls genocide what it is. It backs justice with action,
Myanmar.
funding investigations, supporting survivors, and holding
Myanmar again.
perpetrators accountable. It empowers Rohingya voices and demands that any future Burma include them as equal citizens, not stateless victims. Over 600,000 Rohingya remain trapped in Burma. This bill gives them hope and the tools to rebuild their lives. It also confronts Burma's military junta
Down
head-on,
in
isolating it
Asia.
diplomatically and economically until democracy is restored. This is a test of our values. If we believe in human rights and justice and dignity, then we should pass this piece of legislation. The time for silence in this matter is over, and I urge every member to stand up with a yes vote. Any other members seek recognition? Representative Meeks.
Let me thank you, Mr. Chairman, for marking up my bill, the Burma Gap Act. And I want to thank all the co-sponsors, especially co-lead Representative McCall and original co-sponsor Representatives Barra and Huizenga. This bill passed our committee last Congress, and I hope this year we can get it signed into law. After years of congressional pressure to investigate the Burmese military's violence against the Rohingya in March 2022, the State Department made an official determination that members of the Burmese military committed genocide and crimes against humanity against Rohingya. According to former Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, the Burmese military's attack forced nearly 100,000 Rohingya to flee to Bangladesh in 2016 and killed more than 9,000 Rohingya and forced an additional 740,000 to flee the following year. Unfortunately, the violence hasn't ceased. In 2021, the Burmese military conducted a coup, imprisoned much of Burma's civilian government, and went to war against its own people. Around 600,000 Rohingya remain in Burma's Rakhine state and face violence, starvation, and worse. As violence continues within Burma and more innocent civilians flee to camps in Bangladesh, Thailand, and other neighboring nations, international assistance has failed to keep up with the growing humanitarian need. The bill continues U.S. focus on Burma crisis and provides support for a Rohingya community that still faces violence and repression.
Okay.
The bill calls for a holistic strategy and authorizes the special representative and power.
We're not going to go over the whole thing, but as you can see, it seems like they're going to be signing a bill, right? Or they're introducing a bill that's going to help the people in Burma.
And military officials responsible for this genocide. I yield back.
Any further discussion of the bill? Seeing none. Being no further discussion of the bill, the committee will move to consideration of amendments. Does any member wish to offer an amendment? Seeing none. Being no amendments, I move that the committee report H.R. 4140 as amendment to the House with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to.
Roll call vote.
A roll call vote has been requested pursuant to the chair's previous announcement. This vote will be postponed.
There it is, and they allowed it. I mean, we've been helping people in Myanmar for a bit now, so I mean, obviously they're gonna fucking pass it. Alright, there you have it. That's gonna do it for Fast News. Like I said, I'll be leaving everything in the description, right? All sources, right? Everything's open source. Don't hide anything. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. There you have it.